I'm amazed how easily you can move such a giant shield around like it's nothing.
Really? It's not actually as heavy as it looks.
It's really reassuring to have someone like you protecting us, though.
You know, I guess I never realized it before, but looking back, I've always been the sort to put myself in harm's way to protect those around me, even before I joined the Eldorman and Sea Guard. So, in a way, using this shield to keep you all safe feels like it's what I was meant to do.
You don't need to worry about protecting me. I don't plan on relying on you.
That's okay. It doesn't matter if you do or not. I don't protect people because they ask me to. I do it because I want to, and because I think it's the right thing to do. That goes for you too, Dohalim.
Me?
Yes. You see, you and I both want the same thing. We have the same goal. That means it's in my best interest to continue to protect and keep you safe as well. Even now.
I'm not sure how much protecting I'll need either, but I appreciate the thought. I'm sure you'll do us proud, Kisara.
Right. You can all count on me.
What was Kelzalik even after in the end?
Isn't it obvious? Clearly he wanted the throne for himself, and was gonna have his goons execute Dohalim to get it.
He had to have known he couldn't hope to defeat a lord. He should have run while he had the chance, instead of holding himself up in the palace.
Maybe he thought he couldn't run? Either way, the outcome's the same.
So he got desperate and decided to go for broke?
One might argue that he was another victim of mine, in a sense.
Huh?
There is no greater calling in life to a Renan than the crown contest, yet I refused to take part. The shock he felt at that must have been truly immense, enough to drive him to revolt, even though doing so meant defying Renan hierarchy.
I know I've said this before, but Dahnans and Renans wouldn't coexist here if it wasn't for your stance.
But that was no lofty idealism on my part, nor do I feel any pride at what occurred.
Spare us the pity party. You literally just joined us to uphold those ideals.
Shionne?
No, she is absolutely correct. I shall speak no more of my misgivings.
Okay, off we go.
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
ready! You gotta jump for cover!
You're mine!
Do it! Leap!
Dohalim! In an instant! Impact block!
To achieve such harmony.
Takes a singular will.
Go no further!
Here I come!
None shall
Double
escape
demon
my
fang!
judgment.
Win!
Ready!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! We're in good form!
Maybe something's going on in the forest. This will be a delicious piece of cake.
Double demon fang!
This one's mine.
Win!
Do it!
Next hit's on! You're
Now!
mine!
Redwell, astral energy, full throttle!
Certainly not bad.
No complaints here.
A fish!
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renan eyes. Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble. I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod. You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. Where should I cast my line? Ha! Oh! I didn't think I'd catch something this big.
Are we going to be able to finish all that?
Ha! We've got a lively one. Well, that wasn't much of a challenge.
Not too shabby, friend.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins. Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
You guys want to rest here?
Hey. Is it just me? Or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, Law?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Whoa, that came out perfect.
Mind if I join you, Law?
Oh, hey, Alphen. What's up?
Nothing. I was just surprised to see you weren't training for once. Got a stomachache or something?
You know I don't literally train around the clock, right? I do take breaks.
Do you? It seems like you're training every chance you get.
Well, yeah, it can't be helped if I want to get stronger. Still, it's important to let your muscles rest every now and then. That's what my dad told me anyway.
Zephyr said that?
When I was a little kid, yeah. I would get so excited whenever he came home. I always followed him wherever he went and tried to learn as much from him as I could. He said, it's good to be passionate, but don't overdo it. Just like there are times when you want to take a break from studying, sometimes your body wants to take a break from training, too. I was always rushing around and forgetting to rest, so he ended up telling me that a lot.
That definitely sounds like him.
It's nothing to get sad over. Still, I can't help but wonder if that was my dad's way of teaching me the dangers of rushing into things too quickly. Then again, maybe I'm just overthinking things. I wish I'd had more time to talk to him about this kind of stuff. I'll take guard duty tonight. It's fine. I feel pretty refreshed after that sleep.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Dahnans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Dahnan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman, and this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Dahnan, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Dahnans in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Dahnans in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
Get lost!
Resonate with the earth! Take this! Double demon fang!
Glacial spear, pierce evil! Freeze!
Here I come! Double demon fang! Severing wind!
Resonate with the earth!
Pick up flyers!
I've got this! Let a marksman handle it!
Take this! All yours! Double demon fang! Wind! I'm ready! Take this!
Kisara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Resonate with the earth!
You're mine!
Burning strike!
Take this!
Pierce
Prepare
evil!
to be sealed! You're finished!
Freeze, Lancer!
Double demon fang! Wind! Dahna! Take this!
Now!
It's over!
All yours, Kisara!
This is barely target practice.
Then why bother fighting them?
Because I certainly won't run away from a battle.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my heart. When he slows down, that's our chance.
Raging Captain!
Leave the agile ones to me.
Everlasting
You require a hand.
Fury! Burning strike! Light!
Prepare to be sealed.
A banana!
Double
Let's
demon
go!
fang!
Raging Captain!
You're mine!
All yours, Kisara!
Lightning Captain! Thunderblast!
Take this!
Double demon fang!
I'm ready!
Shall escape
Rena!
my
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Dahnan relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine this sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Dahnan history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course. treasure. What a sweet-sounding ring it has.
You really think so?
Trapped in darkness, pierced by light.
I call it the Rindo Special.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
I'm also good with airborne targets.
Come and face me! You're finished!
Blind freaks! Why can't they just sit still?
Shionne, can you take care of them?
No
Your
sooner
blade
said
moves
than
like
done.
silk.
In
Can't just
here.
let my instincts take over.
How
I'll be saving
fascinating.
this one.
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your heart's content.
We're in good form!
Let's see what you've got. I shall ensure you survive this.
Arch field!
Take this!
Not in your dreams.
Throw it, kick!
It's a duel of the arts.
Here I come!
Lightning condemned.
Prepare to be seized, O fleet of foot. Actually, perhaps bound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing.
Negative gate! Resonate
You're mine!
Lightning
You're going pretty hard in this battle.
I am not usually given to restraint.
Sometimes I believe you're stronger than you let on.
It's over!
I'm
ready!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to...
Lightning orb!
I know fine weapon material when I see it.
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
Oh yeah. We used to run up and down these slopes all the time for our training exercises.
Damn. You weren't messing around.
That food there looks pretty tasty.
Yep, we can fix that new recipe with it.
I eagerly await the final result.
No choice. Come one, come all.
Here's the evil!
Swallow blade.
Thunder Field! Raging
Destruction.
Cascade! In here!
Your muffin. I'm not
Get
done.
out there with the others!
Double demon
Do it!
fang.
Pesky
Lock.
airborne scout.
Demons descend!
Flashing fang. Not a chance.
The enemy wields arc too.
We'll soon see about that!
Raining slash. We've turned the tables on him.
There are still more
Not
left!
done. Right. No time to hold back.
Glacial Spear! Here's the evil! My astral energy!
Inferno torrent. Tornado drive. Impressive, Dohalim.
Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
People say that?
Small, but a victory nonetheless.
We have a long way yet to go.
Let's dispose of the trash.
I'll take you all on. Begin.
Astral energy!
It's over. Elusive deity.
You're mine!
Airborne beast. Rising
My
fire.
spec.
Destruction.
Mega ray!
Here I come.
Annihilation! Dance in the wind!
Next.
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Sleep now!
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your heart's content.
Vanquish darkness! Lunar corruption! Lunar
Destruction.
blast!
No escape. Elusive deity. That's what I like to hear.
Discourteous, aren't you?
No escape.
Hear my call! Here goes! Here goes!
No further!
Damn it. Double demon fang.
It's like dragging onto the wall!
Take it. Lunar rondo. Swallow blade.
There! Shining supernova! Mega ray!
Here I come.
Dohalim! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes! A merry distraction.
There's still more to go!
It's over. Here I come.
Do it! Good work!
Demons descend. Flashing fang. Not a chance. Lunar rondo.
Reload!
Here I come. Raining slash.
Reload!
Dohalim! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
This could be useful.
More Dahna ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
Maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands. This will be a delicious piece of cake!
Double demon fang. You're mine.
Not on my watch!
Double demon fang. Destruction.
Annihilation!
I'm ready.
Kisara! Frozen!
Hammer. Not a chance.
Gemini Aqua!
Our work is done here. Let's move.
I'm right behind you, Shionne.
I'll provide assistance.
Seal! Annihilation!
Take this! It's over!
Lightning orb!
Destruction! Crush!
Do it! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
My turn!
Can you take it?
Sleep now!
Rongo!
Now!
That's what I like to hear.
Sure builds up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top. It's all downhill from here, quite literally.
So Mahag Sar's just up ahead then?
Indeed. If you look, across this mountain is the Lord's Keep.
Let's dispose of the trash.
Raging cascade!
Take this! You're finished!
In here!
Mortal blade! Try this!
You hear the healing art!
Double demon fang! Take this! It's over!
Now! Lost! Get toasty!
Bird strike! My turn!
Leave the enemy's art to me! I'm all stuffed up!
No complaints here!
Lightning Falcon!
Yes, sir! The wind! Air thrust!
You're finished! Double demon fang!
Technique.
How are your weapons holding up?
That's not to give me any ideas.
Shionne! Astral energy! Full throttle! Go!
Not a chance! I'm not done! Lunar Rongo! Elusive deity! You're mine! You're finished!
Pierce the evil!
You're mine! Double demon fang! Win! Take this! I'm ready! You're finished!
Dohalim!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
Only the best materials in your garments.
You really do have quite the discerning eye, Dohalim.
Yeah, they all kind of look the same to me.
I'm okay, guys.
Retreat if you know what's good for you.
Mine!
Take this! Double demon fang!
Let the marksman
Take this!
handle this!
I'm
You're
ready!
finished!
Lost! Demon's descent!
Flashing fang!
My
Deeply
turn!
darkness!
Blue
Take
escape!
it! Elusive deity!
Do it!
Didn't even break a sweat.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along, but it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does. Which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being and forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes, I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
Discourteous, aren't you?
You're mine! Double demon blast! Win! Take this! It's over! You're on! You're finished! I'm ready! River!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Well, looky here.
What's that big tower over there?
I think the animals back at the ranch should be all grown up by now.
It's important to get your rest. Dohalim, your spare bracers were getting dirty, so I polished them up along with the rest of your equipment.
Why, thank you, Kisara. I greatly appreciate that.
Maybe it's just my imagination, but you sure seem to fuss over Dohalim a whole lot, Kisara.
It is a little strange. Almost like you're still in his service.
Really? That's certainly not my intention. Besides, he's not the only one I'm like that with. Hey, Law, I saw your clothes were starting to get holes in them, so I stitched them back up for you.
Oh, wow! Thanks, Kisara.
Point taken. Do you just like looking after people?
I wouldn't go so far as to say I like it, but I get anxious if I don't. I'd always like to help if I can. It comes naturally to me. Back in the day, Miguel and I used to look after the younger kids a lot, so that's probably where it comes from. He taught me everything I know, and I mean everything. How to cook with wild plants, how to sew clothes so they'll last. Without him, we never would have been able to survive.
However, you're not a lord anymore, Dohalim. You need to get used to the idea that people aren't just going to wait on you hand and foot.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm ashamed to admit that I felt no qualms about her doing all that for me. As both a Renan and especially as a lord, one becomes too accustomed to those beneath you tending to your every need, both Renans and Dahnans alike.
Sure, that's how all you Renans are probably raised. But just to be clear, we're not your servants, Dohalim. Got that?
Absolutely. Moments such as this provide me with ample opportunity to confront my unease. It is difficult to tend with my own motivations.
What do you mean?
The truth of the matter is that my espousal of coexistence in Menancia hardly came from an idealistic place. That instinctive unease I feel deep within serves as a reminder for what it is that all of us here fight for.
Don't be so hard on yourself. No one's going to abandon you if you aren't always perfect.
Looking at her now, I think she's more like his mom than his servant.
Dohalim, care if I hang out for a while? You worried about what's going on with Menancia?
What makes you think that?
Well, you were speaking to Kisara earlier, weren't you?
It's rude to listen in on others, you know.
Sorry. I didn't hear what you two were actually talking about, though. I just figured it was Menancia since it was the two of you.
I am but a former lord who has abandoned his post. I'm no longer in a position to lead the realm in any capacity whatsoever. Yet Kisara still seeks out my opinions, knowing full well that is the case. This despite the fact I am no longer her master either.
Couldn't it be precisely because you're not her master anymore? It's natural for friends to want to hear each other's opinions.
I hadn't considered that possibility.
It's funny what you miss sometimes.
Hardly uncommon among artistic types such as myself, When lordships are decided based solely on one's astral energy, it can lead to funny results.
But even so, you still took your job as Lord seriously, didn't you?
Certainly. I learned to perform my functions. However, I was less interested in ruling, so much as avoiding life and death decisions. Of course, such a mentality in the end led only to sickening pain and death taking place elsewhere out of sight. I pretended not to see or hear any of it, content to let our supposed peace and equality keep me blind and deaf to reality. I was a fool.
But you're making amends.
I would like to think so. The path ahead is dark, yet I still walk on. I merely pray that I shan't fall down any holes along the way. Do you mind watching our camp tonight? Shall we get moving?
Not this way, I guess. Not this way, I guess. Not this way, I guess.
This'll be a delicious piece of cake.
Damn it!
Dohalim! Raging cascade!
Here I come! It's over!
Don't mind if I do.
No escape! Double demon time!
Pesky airborne.
This one's got your name on it!
Action to action. A merry distraction.
There's still more to go. Lightning orb! Leave the enemy's arms to me.
Milky place here!
Do it! Lost!
Demons descend! Flashing bang! My turn!
Reload! Well, looky here. I'm okay, guys.
Hey, let's stop for a minute.
What's up? You already tired?
My armor's pretty heavy. I think I need a little rest.
I second that. All of this walking is starting to take its toll on me as well.
What? You don't look it.
We can't spare the time. There's places we need to be. Mahagsar's capital, Niez, is our destination right now.
But if one of us collapses, it will only serve to slow us down. And in your case, Alphen is the only one who could carry you. Best to rest while you have the opportunity.
Enough already. I need a break, so we're taking one.
I don't need you fretting over me.
Fretting? Hey, it's not like I'm...
Been looking for you.
For me, why?
He's tough.
Who are you? You said you were looking for me. Why?
Beautiful, precious life.
What the...
That is all I desire.
Then why are we fighting? Who even are you? Negative gate! Resonate with the earth!
Enjoy.
Here I come! Try harder! We on a chance! Keep it back! Who the hell are you? Bastard!
This guy's not normal.
His speed is unbelievable.
You mean he even surpasses a lord?
Swallow blade!
Die. I can carve through armor. In a bind?
Here I come!
Seal!
Try harder! Now!
Let's get you all tucked away.
Destruction!
Annihilation! Art seal!
Here.
I'll face you.
Light here! Dance in the wind! Air thrust!
I'm not done!
Light astral energy!
Everlasting darkness. Negative gate.
It's over!
Glacial field! Pierce evil!
Is that all that you've got? Very well. Then die. A wretch like you?
Shionne, wake up, please!
Alphen?
Shionne!
Thanks, but you're kinda crushing me.
Sorry.
It's okay. And so am I. It's not as bad as it looks.
Not bad. That's... Shionne, we thought
I'm
you were...
fine. Really.
What the hell were you thinking?
Well, you were trying to protect me too, you know.
Yeah, but I have the sword. It's different.
It's not different. Besides,
Hmm?
Never mind. It's nothing. Anyway, thank you.
But I didn't... Look, I'm just glad that you're...
Alphen?
Sorry.
That guy said he'd be back. I think maybe we should get moving before he returns, right?
Rinwell has a good point. We need to go. Shionne, are you sure you're okay?
Shionne, are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I already applied some healing arts to it. It didn't even leave a scar.
But his sword went nearly straight through you.
I'm all right. Unless I've turned into some kind of ghost and I'm haunting you all right now.
No, I know you're not. It's just...
Look, I appreciate you looking out for me, but I'm fine. Really.
There was also that strange light that appeared when Shionne was stabbed. It seemed to make the enemy retreat when he saw it. Alphen, do you have any idea what it might have been?
A light? I don't know. I was kind of preoccupied with other things at the time.
Now that I think of it, between that light and the blazing sword, just what sort of person are you, Alphen? Can you use Dahna astral arts like Rinwell, perhaps?
He wouldn't know, Dohalim. He doesn't have any memories from his past, remember? Besides, we should really be getting out of here.
I suppose you're right. Forgive me. We've almost reached Nias, the capital of Mahag Sar. With any luck, we'll find a place there for Shionne to rest.
Hey. How are you holding up after that last fight? You're not too hurt, are you?
I'm fine, really. See for yourself.
If things get too tough out there, go ahead and fall back. I can take a beating if I need to.
I'm not here just to stand around and have everyone protect me.
I get that, but there's nothing wrong with admitting you have weaknesses too.
Do I look like I'm just trying to put on a brave face to you?
I can't feel pain. But you still can, can't you?
Look, I appreciate you're trying to look out for me, but even you go down in fights from time to time. Please, stop trying to babysit me. It's getting old.
It's not that. I just...